Siegfried.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. Okay, I see the connection now.
Yeah.
At first I wasn't getting it, but I get it now.
Siegfried, Snowbay, the third.
Oh, so I'm wondering, do we debut the powdered wigs on episode 144, or do we hold off?
Maybe we hold off. I feel like we should do it when the you know whats are done.
What's the you know what?
The mounted you know whats. You know, the things that we mount. Not women, but
Wait, you mean framed?
yeah.
Okay. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, for sure. I think, I really wanted to debut him this morning because one arrived, weirdly enough, 2 days early. And if you see a crazy dog jumping into the frame, that's because he's a literal psycho, and I have to keep him down here as we record. Although he is a sweet boy.
He is a sweet boy.
He got his nuggets off. They're gone as of Wednesday.
Have you ever seen a hacky sack without the beans?
That's pretty much what it's like.
That's
Yeah,
pretty much what
where
it
the
is.
beans start like slipping through the
Yeah.
what is a hacky sack made of?
Oh,
Yarn?
bits of, yeah, sure, hay maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, you know what a hacky sack's like? It's just a bird making a nest,
Pretty much.
and then filling it with shit, filling it with beans.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what his empty sack looks like. It's really pathetic. It's sad. Honestly, yesterday, we were joking because you were over here. We were joking about the fact that the pitch in his bark is likely to heighten in terms of frequency.
Yeah, it went from
because his testosterone, and which is a common side effect in dogs. A lot of times, if you're a male dog, the pitch of your bark ends up going up.
Yeah, and it first was like a real,
Yeah,
and then it went to
yeah, like turtles fucking.
yeah.
But I'm happy to say, last night there was a group of neighbors down the street who they had a fire out back, and he could hear them faintly inside. That's adorable. He could hear them faintly inside, and his big bark came back.
Oh,
Dude, it was freaky, and he did it for like an hour. He just did not like them being out there. It was weird.
crazy.
Yeah, but it was that, and I was like, and there was one where he was standing right next to me, and he was like shaking. He was like visibly distraught by whatever noises were occurring outside. It was really freaky. He's a handsome boy. He's a big boy. Caden, come on, go lay down. Get your bone. No, that was not
He's
an
like,
invitation
wait,
to come over to
me?
Dad.
You calling me?
Go get your bone. No, go get your bone.
He's in party girl mode right now.
Dude, he's just being himself. He's just being a dog. He's a cutie boy. He's our little basement mascot, though. I love him.
Are you gonna give him testosterone pills?
No, that'd be a terrible idea.
You think?
Well, his body doesn't naturally produce it on its own anymore because of his nutties being gone. So, I mean, you would literally have to put him on. I mean, you'd have to put him on a pretty high dose of testosterone just to keep it in his system.
Yeah, but that he'd be jacked.
Could you imagine him on steroids?
He'd be jacked.
Jesus Christ, this dog would be frightful on steroids. Anyway, hey, so I wanted to. We're in like what week is it in terms of quarantine shutdown?
Like 3.
Is it 3 already?
Yeah.
So I was thinking about this yesterday, and I wanted to ask you just these questions. Stop it, bonehead. Go lay down. I wanted to ask you these questions in terms of one, how has your life changed as a result, or has it? Because we haven't really talked about this all that much.
No, it hasn't changed at all. The only thing for me is I've become a full-time kindergarten teacher.
Right. Yeah, so, oh, God. Caden, go. Go. Get your bone. This fucking dog, I swear to God, I'm going to murder him in 2 seconds. I've been very patient. My patience is losing. It's dwindling. Get your bone. Good boy.
Is he just going to lay in the corner without his bed?
I don't know. But anyway, God, sorry. God, do you know what? I can't apologize enough to anybody listening to this or watching this, and you see this fucking bullish dog just running in and out. But anyway, so I wanted to see how your life has changed at all. And what thing are you, or that you can't wait to get back to? as far as like a normal thing that you were doing before that has been stripped away from you as a result? Like I can think like 4 or 5 things off the top of my head where I'm like, God, I really miss this.
Yeah. I miss the lounge.
Yeah. That's going to be top of my list
Like
as far
a
as
guy's lounge, though.
yeah, like a like a sweat lounge,
Yeah.
like a Spitz, like a Spitz lounge.
I miss the sauna
Yeah, I know.
with a bunch of dudes, like it's just it's like a very bro camaraderie thing.
Most people hate the vibe of naked guys rolling around, but you quite enjoy it.
No, let it hang.
That's if we had to say you had a thing, that'd be your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Usually I go there to count how many times someone whelps when they when they sit on their balls. Because the thing about an old man's balls, hey, like a woman, how gravity is a motherfucker when you get older? Well,
Yeah.
gravity is like a taffy puller on your tits, and it just like really thins it out,
Yeah.
in between.
Yeah.
And so like by the time you're like 90, your tits will be at your knees.
Yeah.
But
you got them drippy tits.
Yeah, but for a dude, well, that's a whole nother story. Basically, our balls turn into grandfather clocks, or like those pendulums,
Yeah, that's true.
that bounce between two posts.
Did I ever tell you about this time I was working out with people? This was so many years ago. We were working out at the Moraine Rec Center. It was this old guy that used to always go in there and work out. I mean, when I say old, I mean, Chris, like probably a World War II fighter pilot old. Like he was old.
Was he just, like,
oh, he was, dude. I mean,
20 pounders?
Less. he was picking up the pink weights. Like he was old. Commended him to all get out as far as like he was always in there working out. But he was doing, and he had shorts on one day, and he was doing this exercise with he had like short shorts, like soccer shorts.
Yeah.
And he was doing like these soccer kicks like on the ground for like an ab workout. And of course it just looked painful, but his fucking sack fell out. Ugh. Literally fell out of his shorts. And there was like 5 or 6 of us standing there at like a weight bench. And a buddy of mine just looked over and he was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ." And he's just doing this. And I was like, "What?" And he goes, just look down to the left. And I looked down to the left. I'm like, "Fuck, dude, you are not kidding." I mean, it was hard to explain what it looked like. It just looked like melted putty.
Yeah, it's kind of like...
Honestly, it didn't look like there was any balls in it. It just looked like skin.
It's like a leather coin bag.
Yeah, dude, it's gross. Then you're right. Like, you get women with those fucking hangy tits. Mm-hmm. Honestly, it looks like, wax melting off a candle, but, like, it starts to solidify as you get closer and closer to the bottom. Women get drippy tits.
Yeah.
And other than surgery, there's no way to combat that, I feel.
Yeah,
I don't think bras... I know there's something about, like, people say bras actually they only keep your tits up when you're wearing them. But I don't think there's nothing in a bra that is going to support your tits, like, long term. Like, keep a bra on for, like, 5 days, and then your tits hang in place. I don't think that's a thing.
If you're a lady like me, there's some controversy on this subject. A lot of people think that you shouldn't wear a bra because your natural body's ability to counter gravity is better than falsifying support.
Right.
Thinking they're just going to stay up like that.
So you're saying braless is probably the better way to go. Yeah, I've always wondered that too, because the whole braless movement is an actual like thing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of girls who they will take serious advantage of the braless, roaming about society. But I'll tell you what, you don't want everyone to go braless. No. It's just like at a nude beach. You don't want everybody to be nude at a nude beach. More often than not, you don't want these people to be nude. I kind of feel the same way about the braless thing.
But dude, I can spot a nipple like from far away. Like I could
little, what do they call them, pokies?
Like I just have this intuition to like find a nipple in a crowd of people. And it's like
you have been known to do that.
They're like beacons. Like like for
That's
me,
true.
Like for me, it's like the sixth sense. Like in signs where people have halos, I can see halos around people's nipples.
Those are called areolas.
Yeah.
It's naturally built in.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, though. Like, nipples for you are like the next clue to some adventure.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, if this was like geocaching, If we were on a scavenger hunt for nipples,
you'd be a
team up with me.
Yeah, you'd be the guy. You're like, I find all the nips. So one thing that I was thinking about that I missed a lot that I feel like, and for a couple of reasons, just it's been like the social aspect of it, and of course the physicality around it is hockey. Like I didn't realize how much I miss hockey until people were like kind of like texting back and forth the other day, and I was like, fuck, man, this really sucks. Like that is probably, honestly, I think that's the hardest one for me because I played 2 days a week and then, play with people who I absolutely love to death. And like those two things stripped away I think it's been the most rough for me because like I can still smoke cigars. I love going to the lounge, obviously, but I can still have a cigar, right? We smoked yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, I can still do those things.
Yes.
But I have nowhere to play hockey. Like, where am I going to go and play hockey? And then socialize with those people. Like, those two things that I love the most are completely shut down.
Xbox One.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but definitely not the same. Work out my thumbs. Yeah, I think that's probably been the most challenging thing for me. Although I'm still getting exercise and I'm still remaining physical, like, I'll go out and about, go lay down. Take Dum Dum for a walk pretty much every day, except now that he's got his nuggies off, he can't walk. But yeah, like taking walks and like working out with bands and shit. Been doing that more and more. But outside of that, dude, I miss all that stuff. I miss going to the gym.
How do you like the bands?
They suck. They're fucking terrible. It is not the same. It is not the same as pulling up a weight. I mean, it suffices, and it gets me a workout. And as long as I can sweat and Caden, go lay down. As long as I can go sweat and, at least remain somewhat active, I'm okay, but it's just not the same. Bands kind of suck. I don't know. I like pulleys for resistance. I don't like bands for resistance. It's weird. I feel like they don't engage the muscles the same way.
No, they're different.
Yeah, it's different. And it's different that is not like conducive for my body style, I guess.
Usually there's this like type. They're like they do say it's like, well, it's constant resistance on your muscles. Like, yeah, but you can tell like the rubber gives out at a certain point.
Yeah.
Like there's a point where you first start stretching and it reaches like this apex of like resistance, and then you go beyond that and it's like weakens.
Yeah. You know what I don't like about bands that I love about weights is that like with weights, and maybe it's just me becoming accustomed to certain things, but like with weights, I know how to engage certain muscle groups. If I'm like doing a bicep curl, I'm only engaging my bicep. There's often times where if I'm like using the band, I feel like I'm using more of the supporting muscles than the actual muscle I'm trying to work out. So I'll get sore and like up in my tricep area if I'm doing biceps, or I'll get sore down into my forearm, but my bicep isn't really that sore. Yeah, I know. What a goofball.
He's laying on my keys.
Yeah, no. I mean, he's fine as long as he doesn't eat shit, but I think he's figured out a way. He's like, well, I've always wanted to come up on this couch, and I know if I disrupt this show, they're just going to ignore me.
They're going to allow it.
They're going to let me lay on this couch. Although he does look like a really good couch mascot. The only thing that terrifies me is he's big.
He's big.
And like, I feel like the couch is going to collapse. Yeah, so those things are really the only things I miss going to bars a lot. Like I miss social drinking, which sounds terrible because it makes me sound like an addict, but I miss going to my favorite bars and seeing my favorite bartenders and that was like, but I will tell you this, it has definitely helped my my checking account out quite a bit. Like the lack of purchases on alcohol, I mean, dude, we're talking in the past 3 weeks, hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
And all that is like, I was like, oh, my bank account doesn't look terrible.
Yeah, and you witnessed a happy hour I had yesterday. Like we're making do, right? We're making do.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of those at work too.
You kind of find times to like have not maybe like the full experience,
right?
But like some of it,
right?
The problem is my happy hour said alcohol permitted, and I'm literally
you were the only one drinking. Yeah, you were the only one drinking, and you were smoking a cigar. And I was like, it was funny to me because I was just like listening in, right? I was like trying to get stuff done, but listening in at the same time. And like one guy that was on there was talking about cigars or whatever, and he said, like smoke a couple a year maybe. Yeah. It's like, well then just don't, you know.
He says he smokes them at like Christmas and like.
But then also just don't.
New Year's.
You know? just don't do it at all.
But he talked about animal cracker, and I feel like for someone who smokes twice a year,
the surrogates,
having a surrogate's animal cracker in your list is
Yeah, that's a good cigar. I'm surprised he couldn't find it because I feel like they're fairly I mean, they're still made in regular productions.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they did. I'm actually shocked they didn't have them there.
Yeah.
Actually, I think the last time I think he said Jungle Jim's. The last time I was there, they had Animal Cracker in one of the discount bins on the end.
Oh.
I thought I remember seeing it in there, and it is a pretty good cigar. Speaking of, we had John Huber on Instagram Live earlier in the week, which was real cool. A couple days ago.
Yeah.
That was really fun. So anybody who got a chance to hop on that and listen to John and I banter back and forth for an hour, hope you enjoyed it. I had a ton of fun. I think we had, it was roughly over right around 300 people kind of bouncing in and out, which was really good.
I'm kind of mad.
Very interactive.
I'm mad at John.
Why?
Because I wanted to be on it and I couldn't do Thursday at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he had stuff scheduled for Friday, so just get over it, It was funny because it was Rob from Bovida. He was doing the one with John yesterday, which I tuned into for a little bit. And when John told us that, I was like, well, I'm just going to go ahead and sneak in on a Thursday then.
Yeah.
Which I love. Rob is great. And it wasn't me trying to snipe a spot to do it. It was just the only time of which I could do it. I mean, there was no other time for me to do it. So
thank you for everybody that tuned into the Saturday TLE, the Lounge Experience, and Hot Ticket collab.
Yeah, we did it shortly
Instagram
after
Live.
the show.
That one was slated for an hour, and it turned into 2.
Yeah, it went 2 hours. We just kept going. But it's weird because when you already kind of know someone, you've been acclimated to them. Right, I interact with Erica and Amy on a very regular basis. Yeah. You have a heightened sense of comfort, so that those conversations become more natural, so they become a little bit more extended.
Yeah.
So to get to 2 hours and one of those is not challenging.
Every time I say their name, I want to sing that waterfall song. Don't go chasing waterfall.
Do you remember that part in Other Guys, the movie, where Michael Keaton drops the TLC lines?
Oh,
or he'd be like, "Guys, don't go chasing waterfalls." And he's like, "Captain."
Yeah,
that's clearly
that
from TLC,
so
and he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
I love that movie.
It's so great. That movie is insanely underrated.
Yes, it is.
So good. Well, I think Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg together is magic.
Yeah, because Mark Wahlberg,
they just got it figured out, man.
He's got a natural comedic side to him.
He does,
but he's got this hard ass
I think
he's naturally like that.
I think he's kind of better comedic than I do
serious.
What he does serious.
Yeah.
I like Mark Wahlberg. He does a good job in serious. There's certain movies where he is.
Well, he's always the same character.
Yeah, all for sure, except in Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Garbage. Sorry. Garbage.
Horrible. Monkeys.
Yeah. Just apes, Chris.
Apes. The lower.
I was like, Planet of the Apes, and you're like, monkeys. No, they're different. They're definitely not the same.
The lower class of human civilization.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg in Planet of the Apes. I know, monkeys, right?
You thought homeless was as low as we go on this planet? Nope. Apes.
Ape shit,
Apes
man.
and monkeys. That's the lowest class.
Yeah, for sure.
Live in the trees. Live in the jungle.
Yeah. That's weird, isn't it?
It's a little weird.
I thought about it the other day. I read...
servitude. Plenty of monkeys in servitude today.
I mean,
Think about it.
I mean, we were put them on spaceships and launched their ass up into space.
Yep.
So, kind of.
Yep.
It's not like they had a choice.
It's
not like they're like, hey, Cap, I'll do it.
I'm signing up.
Yeah, there's no way. It's like drugged those little monkeys and they woke up and they're in a dark abyss.
Oh, there's bananas on this flight?
What are we serving on this flight?
And off they go.
Brazilian nuts and bananas. I'm in. Yeah, that's weird. That's strange. I was thinking about it from a species perspective because I read this fact the other day where it said dinosaurs roam the earth for over 100 million years. Mm-hmm. Humans have only occupied space on this earth as primary species for 200,000 years.
Yeah.
So it's what's next?
Well, we're going to evolve like crazy. But
do you think we will?
I do.
Into what? Do you think physically? I think mentally. So you ever think about this
mentally,
where it says
sure.
We utilize only a certain percentage of our brain? Mm-hmm. It said within the next 100 years that percentage is going to change.
Yeah, our brains are
I can already feel my head getting bigger, honestly.
Yeah.
Day by day.
What are those containers that Dad has?
Containers?
Yeah, that he rents.
Pods?
Storage units. See, our brain is I
think your brain may be a little mushy.
Our brain is like a storage unit facility.
Yeah.
And we're only really using 2 garages.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. We got to open up the rest of the
We
bays.
gotta rent the other space.
Yeah.
We gotta
for sure.
we gotta utilize the other space.
Yeah. I think our RAM capacity, like in most newer computers, our RAM capacity is going to start increasing.
Like our brains are like the early 90s computers.
I think the problem is though, is like you probably have space for like 256, but you're operating on maybe 16, maybe 8.
I'm always sticking in
Like your Windows computer like back in the 90s.
and I'm always sticking in floppies.
Jesus Christ. This is probably a good time to take a break because we do have a review today. Yeah. I figured because we had John Huber on the other day, it's been a little while since we've done some written reviews for Crown Heads, but I don't think we've really featured one on the podcast in quite some time.
I think I write too many Crown Heads reviews.
Yeah, like all of them essentially. You just started interlacing other stuff, which by the way, you're up this week, so enjoy.
I know.
Yeah, so I thought it would be a good idea because we did most of the 2019 releases, I believe, are already done, except for the 4 Kicks Mule Kick. So the Mule Kick is really the only thing from 2019 we hadn't already reviewed. So I wanted to make sure we completed the 2019 series because Crown Heads, if you were on the live, they're already coming out hot and heavy with the 2020 releases. There's already 3 that are on the table to be released, hopefully on the outside of this pandemic, within like the next 3 months. So by the time PCA comes, whether or not the show continues or doesn't continue, but that time frame in like July, I mean, Crown Heads is going to be spitting out new stuff, and we're going to want to be getting our hands on it.
We're going to be behind the curve, and that'd be so bad.
Don't want to be behind the curve. What else is there to do right now? I mean, honestly, I like completing the 2019 release list, so no better time than right now. So let's take a quick break, and then we'll be back at you guys in just a minute. Hang tight. I don't think you're ready for this jelly. I don't think you're ready for this. My mind's so delicious for you, burn.
Oh.
What are we breaking down today?
The 2019 4 Kicks Mule Click. Mule Click?
Yeah, Mule Click. Did you say, it sounded like you said Mule Clit.
By Crown Heads.
Yeah.
By crowning heads. From the Mule Clit.
Right from the Mule Clit. That's gross. Also,
we bought new tablets.
How
do you see our tablets?
Yeah, I know. How juicy do you think a Mule Clit is?
I don't know.
We don't want to know.
No.
Yeah. So one of the reasons we're doing this one,
thick like a Vaseline.
It's like, do you remember? Does anyone remember when China did that porn? Have we talked about this before? China the wrestler.
Yeah.
Do you remember how big her bean was?
Yeah, we watched it.
Dude, that was bro. I was like, why is her dick bigger than mine?
That wasn't a bean. That's like one of those like pinto beans that they put in chili.
Yeah.
Or
no, it was like a magic bean. That thing was crazy. Do you remember is it Pee-wee's Big Adventure? I think is it Pee-wee's Big Adventure where the one guy is like growing sausages like off of a plant? He's like growing hot dogs off of a plant, but they're like supersized hot dogs and like weird shit's growing.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like that.
Yeah.
Like just like an inflated bean.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Oh, by the way, people, if you can notice just the way I'm sitting, I probably look like I'm 400 pounds. Just know I'm not this big.
Yeah.
I'm actually slender, relatively speaking.
You're not that big.
No. But I do like the idea of just like.
I do want to call out too. Obviously, we're in a fairly new space. The only thing that's really there's a few more things that we've got to get done, which we're going to work on getting done, which we're going to be obviously pretty hilarious. But in addition to that, this very uncomfortable chair that I'm in will turn into a comfortable chair. It just hasn't made it here yet. So the colors of which are being produced now on video are some of the colors of which are going to be presented on upcoming changes and certain branding stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Which is going to be sweet. I'm still deciding whether or not I want to do like a rug and a coffee table. Just to close out the environment.
Yeah,
we could do a nice where we talked about the rug.
And a coffee table.
Yeah, I think a coffee table would be cool because you could put stuff on it. Coffee tables are fun.
And rugs you can lay on.
That's true. You can lay on a rug.
When we have guests,
yeah.
They can sit in front of us Indian style like children.
Yeah, for sure. That would be weird. We should just put like people in like chains and cuffs, like just laying on the ground. We should have people intermittently walking in and out that look like slaves, that look like servants, not slaves. Let me bring that back.
What are you going to green screen the background and put a plantation?
I don't mean like cotton slaves. I don't mean like back in the 1800s. I just mean like servitude.
Okay.
Because the thing is like
you wanted to be there.
Here's the thing. Like in the United States,
which we call jobs.
Right. Low paying jobs. Back in the day, back in the 1800s, obviously like most people recognize America for what like the 1800s used to represent in terms of like abolishment of slavery and then that whole thing. And, as it's played into racism over a period of time, it's a very popular thing, not only in the country, but worldwide. It's a very known thing, right? But slavery has existed for so many years. Like Roman times, the slaves, holy shit, man. That was some crazy shit.
Egypt.
By the way, gladiators were slaves.
Yep.
So slavery's been around for a long time.
Egypt.
So when I say slavery and I say servitude, I don't necessarily mean let's rewind to the 1800s. That wouldn't be wrong. I'm more into like child slavery, personally. As opposed to like, I don't really care what color you are. I just need you to make some jeans for me.
Okay. With their parents' consent?
Of course, with their parents' consent.
Okay.
Chris. I'm kidding. I'm not into slavery. That's terrible. I won't even, I'll put it this way. I love the way Express jeans fit, but I feel bad when I buy them. Because I know who's making them. And there's an element of me that's just like,
I just think of the old lady in Happy Gilmore. She's like, my fingers hurt. When she's like quilting all day.
And Ben Stiller, what does he say? He says something to her real quick.
He's like, you just got like law duty.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Anybody else's fingers hurting?
Yeah. I mean, it was hilarious. Let's get into this fucking review.
Yeah.
We're going to be short on time. We are breaking down the 2019 Crown Heads Mule Kick.
Mule clit.
Yes, the mule clit. I will say this, we haven't broken down the 2018, but I want to make it known on this show that it is one of my all-time favorite cigars, is the 2018 Mule Kick. I have them stocked up on the ready. It's one of my favorite cigars because every single time I smoke it, I feel like it gets better. Mm-hmm. And the part of me is like, well, let's review the 18. And then I was like, no, because I already have this idea in my, like, even if this experience is a bit soured and not as good as what I traditionally have with that cigar, I know that my bias is going to kick in. And I couldn't do that to myself. I wanted to make sure that I kept that experience to myself and not broadcast it to the masses.
Like reviewing your favorite meal that you've had forever.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But I haven't had the 2019 as much, and I still had a few left. And I thought, man, what a good time to close out the 2019 Crown Head cigars, and especially the Mule Kick. And I'm going to put it this way. If you think about all the releases last year, you had the Las Calaveras 2019, which was a hit. You had, of course, the 2019 Mule Kick. You had iterations of the Court Reserve that came out. And then you had the Juarez, which exploded. I mean, that overshadowed anything else that Crown Heads put out in 2019 to the masses. And then there's the poor 2019 Mule Kick that just kind of gets overshadowed.
And you had the behind the scene, well, not even behind the scenes, but I would say it's like putting Bebe in the corner type cigar.
Right.
The Black Lab.
Yeah, the Black
Headley
Lab.
Grange.
Yeah, that's right. That's
that thing was fucking delicious.
Yeah, so there's all these cigars that kind of came out, and Crown Heads did a really good job of releasing a lot of good stuff. And of course, the La Coalición, how can I figure? I mean, that was more fanfare around that cigar than anything. But I really look at that as like Drew Estate Crown Heads and not just like Crown Heads. But either way, as a Crown Heads represented cigar, it was like all these big ass releases, these highly hyped, anticipated releases, and of course Juarez being pulled from Thompson, then broadcasts out to humidors everywhere, exploded onto the scene, and it just overshadowed cigars like the Four Kicks Mule Kick 2019, which I would argue is, when I had it for the first time, an amazing cigar, but there's just not as much fanfare around it. So I want to give it the attention that I feel like it deserves in closing out the 2019 Crown Head cigars. In
2019, was it a good year for Sumatran?
What a good year, yeah.
Sumatran.
So before we get into the components of the cigar, which I'll leave you in charge of today, Chris, how do we break these down?
Let me put on my reading glasses. AKA, move it closer to my face.
You look like Dad right now.
Okay. All right. And I recognize some of these words. Each cigar review starts with a total of 60 possible points and is broken down into 3 main categories. 10 points for construction, 20 points for burn, and 30 points for flavor. We then deduct points for less than optimal construction, burn, and flavor, and see if the cigar is worth the price for a possible 1% bonus or deduction. Then finally, we average out our individual scores, giving you guys our total cigar rating out of 60.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. I mean, it's not a lot to it, honestly.
I like to pretend that there's an audience by like looking around like, I see you.
Yeah.
I see you.
We should bet on an audience in here. That'd be cool.
Mannequins.
How creepy would that be? The fact that we already have 2 powdered wigs draped over a stand right now is creepy enough. By the way, I was on a Zoom call with one of my employees yesterday, and she saw mine hanging up there in the background. She goes, "Hey,
what is that?
What's that on the left?" I was like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
Whoops.
I did the exact same thing.
Yeah, I gotta be careful. Some people, there's people who have already called out that this looks like a porn studio, and they're not wrong. I called it the casting couch for a reason.
Yeah, we record all day, and it's not just about cigars.
That's true. Chris, what is this cigar comprised of?
Let me get my reading glasses back on. This Mule Kick is manufactured by EP Carrillo. It is wrapped in an Ecuadorian Sumatra, binder Nicaraguan, filler Nicaraguan, and we had it in the 5x7/8x52 Robusto. This is a long Robusto.
It's a Robusto Extra.
Robusto Extra.
Yeah, so it's worth noting that the filler components don't change from 2018 to 2019.
Or
the only
17
thing,
or 18, 19, yeah.
And the only thing that changes in this particular cigar is the wrapper type. So that being said, one of the things that I want to talk about real quick is like think about the impact of flavor when you do 2 variants as wrapper type, which isn't an uncommon thing to do. A lot of people do that. Let's take the same filler components and let's put a different wrapper on it. A lot of, especially new brands, do that as a means to get more production out there quicker to the marketplace. So just think about that as we go through the cigar and what that means for the value overall.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, and it comes in at a $10 price point.
Yeah, just right around 10 buckaroos. Not hateful at all.
No.
So what did you think about the construction on this cigar?
Whoa.
These are fresh. We just smoked these yesterday.
Super fresh. I mean, what I'll say is this, bro. Like, it's not the most smooth of cigars, construction-wise. And I think that's the wrapper. But here's what I want to say. It makes sense why it comes from, like, Ecuador with a Sumatran seed, you know? Because the wrapper literally looks like a giraffe.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of giraffes in Ecuador.
There's no giraffes in Ecuador.
Pretty sure there is.
Pretty sure that there's not any in Sumatra.
Yeah, there's pretty sure there is. But the point of it is, they're all African plains, right? But dude, it looks like a giraffe. Like, there's some wrapper types where we're like, oh, like I've seen it with Connecticut broadleaf. Usually get like a crazy marbling, like dark marbling in it. Like parts of it are brighter. They're still dark, but they're like brown. Then you got like these like real dark kind of bands of color. Yeah. This literally has spots like a fucking giraffe back.
Yeah, I thought mine was like very leopardized.
Yeah.
It was like, it was weird because yours kind of had a little bit longer sections of the marbling and mine was more dotted and spotted. It was really strange.
Like a giraffe neck. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm thinking this was made from giraffe.
It was very interesting in terms of like just visually looking at it, because both of them, I mean, those 2 samples that I had came from the same bed. They looked very similar in terms of like, it wasn't like one wrapper on one was discolored and the other was like, so it's kind of strange that they did look like that. I mean, it wasn't anything that was a turnoff. It was actually kind of cool just as far as the appeal of the cigar. I do, by the way, and I always want to call this out, I love the logos for the Four Kicks line in particular. Like, I love the bands on those. It's like a traditional black or traditional red, sometimes interlaced mixed in with gold. But it's like every single one of them, it's so identifiable in the marketplace. I love that consistency. I love how it doesn't really change that much. The variance doesn't change on those, other than the sub-band at the bottom, which now Crown Heads is putting on for their limited edition stuff. Nothing's really changed outside of that. But yeah, I thought the cigar was beautifully constructed. I like the cap set on it. That was one thing that I noticed right at the get-go, because I'm trying to change what I do in terms of cutting, like often. Like I'm really rotating straight V and punch like on a regular basis, because I'm just wanting to acclimate myself and just figure out which one V cut I still very much enjoy the most. But sometimes just as far as like cutting right at the cap on a straight and just getting that practice down, and of course appropriately punching a cigar, I make it a point to kind of rotate those in and out. And I straight cut this, man, and just the cap set on it was perfect.
You should check out Touching Tips with Donger.
I know.
To like help you learn how to properly cut
I know.
your Donger.
I really should. I really should.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you know what's interesting about the construction of this cigar? I'm so used to most crown heads being so rigid, almost brick-like, right? Mm-hmm. This one wasn't really like that. Like this one had some softness to it.
Yeah,
you know, probably because of the manufacturer. We called it out EP Carrillo. I think each manufacturer does a little differently, but this is different. This is a different feel.
Yeah, I would say the cigar's not overly dense. So like anything that comes from Drew Estate that I know Crown Heads works on, like the La Colacion is a perfect example. Some of the Piñola stuff that the Hawaii releases. Even like the Buckeye Land, right? Yeah. Those are very thick, very dense. They're very heavy cigars. Yeah. And typically, like in the Mule Kick lineup and the Four Kicks lineup, you have something that doesn't have the same element of density to it. It's still packed full of tobacco, but it just doesn't have, like, there's almost like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. They just seem to be a little bit more airy and light than they do kind of dense and full.
Yes.
But anyway, thought the construction was great on the cigar. It's pretty fucking flawless.
Yeah, no issues whatsoever.
So what did you think about the burn? You chiefed on yours for a considerable amount of time.
I did. It turned into literally almost a 2-hour smoke.
Yeah, it
for
did.
me. Shouldn't have been that long, but I was doing other things while smoking it. Here's what I'll say. It's a 1-2 puffer. Real easy draw. And I mean real easy.
Yeah.
Maybe because it's lightly packed compared to most.
I think that's part of it. Honestly, just going back to the whole density thing and not having too much tobacco just stuffed inside the binder and the wrapper, it seemed to me that it was a little bit lighter. And I think that kind of helps with a nice, easy airflow on the draw as opposed to, sucking a golf ball through a garden hose.
Yeah, totally.
I thought, to me, it's weird as long as it's producing enough smoke. I mean, that's always been the challenge as far as like finding the balance in like a really airy draw is making sure that the smoke production is not only adequate, but hopefully sufficient.
Yeah.
I like cigars that do both. And for me, this one kind of achieved both of those marks.
Yeah. And here's, I told you that this thing has like giraffe spots. One of the things I was like presuming would happen was maybe that's like the difference in thickness of the wrapper leaf, right? Maybe it's not really even in spots because it might be thicker in others, thinner in others.
Sure.
The veins obviously running through it. And part of me was like, this is probably going to be maybe a kind of wonky run. Like there'll be moments where it'll run real funny.
Right.
Running meaning, uneven burn as you're drawing from it and it's going down the cylindrical tube. But it was very surprising. Well, not surprising. It's just I was presuming this would happen, but it didn't. It didn't run at all. Like it was a pretty damn consistently even burn from the get-go to the end. Right. So I think the spots are more like birthmarks. Just because you have a birthmark doesn't mean your skin's thicker there. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Maybe
true.
If you have a birthmark, the hairs might be black in that spot.
Yeah, I appreciate this, Dr. Allen, by the way.
Yeah.
You've certainly gone through all the schooling to be able to make sure that this is accurate in what you're saying.
Yeah. And so, birthmarks doesn't mean you have thicker skin there.
Right.
It's the same thickness.
Yeah.
Just different colored.
Uh-huh.
It's a different color.
Yeah.
So that's all. But it burned really evenly. And of course, we talk about the hold test all the time. Sometimes we don't mention it because it's like, no issues.
Right. Yeah, I typically only mention it when it is an issue.
Yeah. See, hold test is when you sit your cigar down for about 5 minutes. You have a little chit-chat with your happy hour coworkers and you're showing them your dainty fucking colonial wigs. And you also are looking up that giraffes don't exist in Ecuador.
How are we on time, by the way?
I don't know. We're pretty close. But anyways, burn was great. It passed the whole test with flying colors.
Yeah.
No qualms. Nothing. Great.
Yeah. I agree in terms of burn as far as the consistency. I don't know. I agree with you about your whole fucking thought process on spots and skin issues. But I will say this: burn completely evenly. I mean, the consistency on the cigar is perhaps my favorite element. I thought the draw on it was, I thought it was on par. There was nothing like too crazy about it. It was good smoke production, but not anything that was like wowing me. But in terms of the consistency of the burn, I thought was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, my cigar literally even all the way down.
Yeah.
Perfect burn throughout the entirety of the cigar, which to me is, again, paralleled with construction. You want that optimal experience minus the flavor. Those two things, I mean, as far as like just making sure that you have the best experience possible in smoking the cigar, I mean, lights out. Both construction and burn for me were incredible on both samples. And I've been sitting on these for quite some time. I'd say probably spring of last year I've had these, maybe early summer of last year. It's been a considerable amount of time since I've put these away and kind of stockpiled them, so they've been sitting for a while.
You gave those calves some time to grow up.
Yes, I did. So before we get into flavor, I'm gonna have to take another break because you went on just an insanely long rant about skin issues and conditions and so on.
Yeah, it's possible.
So let's take a quick break, and we'll be back at you guys just in a minute, and we'll break down the flavor of the cigar.
Like suspenseful.
Hang tight.
Super suspenseful. It's like a commercial break.
It is like a commercial. It is literally a commercial break.
Yeah. Like, oh my God, what's going to happen?
Oh, stay tuned. All right, and we're back.
Don't, like in most commercials or the beginning of like the next segment of the show, they're like, kind of recap what just happened.
Yeah, no, we're not recapping any of that fucking mess. None of that mess.
Something about giraffes.
Yeah, we'll be recapping none of that. But I do want to talk about the flavor of this cigar.
Ooh, yes.
And so what I asked initially in the first part of it was thinking about the flavors in terms of the filler components, obviously interlaced different wrapper from the previous years, right? That's one thing for me, 2018 being one of my favorite cigars. I would literally put it in my Mount Rushmore. It's that good. It's one that every time I smoke it, I get like more giddy about smoking it. That's why I have so many in my stockpile. So I thought about the 2019 and the idea that I love Sumatran tobacco, specifically in wrapper type. I was thinking about it and I said, wow, the fillers have to be dynamically, I think they have to be so good as to introduce another wrapper type and still get a wonderful flavor experience out of the cigar.
Yeah.
That was one thing when the 2019 was released, of course, with the Sumatran wrapper, that was like, I don't know that it's going to be able to achieve what the 2018 achieved in terms of flavor. Now, I knew they were going to be different, but I was wondering if it was still actually going to be good. So you really have to put a lot on the shoulders of what you do with the filler type to make sure that you are creating a good experience from a flavor perspective, meshed well with the wrapper type.
Yeah.
So what did you think about this particular wrapper type on this blend of cigar?
I gotta say, so if you've had the 2018, this one has a pretty significant change up in flavor.
Yes, very much.
Like a lot.
Right.
Even though
that
it
wrapper
has-
type changes everything.
Yeah, it literally changes everything. What's crazy about the Sumatra, which I think is what I compliment anybody who used it last year, including Crown Heads, obviously, is that this cigar in particular is kind of like very creamy and savory off the get-go and like nutty and kind of like tangy. And it is fucking divine. It's like, it's so complex. It's like a multi-celled organism.
It is complex, but it's so consistent.
Yeah.
That's what's weird is it's complex, but it's not a roller coaster cigar.
No, these are all flavors that are happening simultaneously.
Yes, that's kind of what I wanted to say. Of course. Yes.
And it is so good from the get-go. Like, so good. And it stays that way the entire cigar.
Yeah.
I have nothing more to say to it other than it's like a really good cigar.
This is a cigar that I truly believe, like, even if you aren't into more, I would say, I know a lot of people like the spice heavy stuff. You don't get that element in this cigar.
No.
I mean, I called out in the very beginning, just going through the process and just wondering, okay, so there's Nicaraguan filler components in here. There's going to be an element of that pepperness, that a little bit of that spice that was especially probably going to hit up front.
Yeah.
And it really didn't.
No.
Dissipated. I mean, it wasn't even, if I had to put, okay, what are the flavor components of the cigar? It wouldn't even be in the top. It wouldn't eclipse the top 5, top 10 most relevant flavors in this particular cigar. So there's really none of that. I agree in terms of like the creaminess, the nuttiness of the cigar. I like that, and I do like the savoriness. So, you know, I'm very much into that savory, tangy type flavor, but it's balanced out with like a subtle sweetness too. Mm-hmm. And you're right, all those flavors come together at the same time and remain through the rest of the cigar. So it is static in terms of that flavor and the fact that it's long lasting, but it is insanely complex. The complexity of the cigar in terms of all those flavors and their ability to mesh well together. I was surprising to me that I thought the 2018 was so good that I was thinking, well, there was no way in my own head that the 2019 was going to be as good as the 2018, or it was even going to get close to it, because I thought the combination of flavors in the 2018 were so goddamn good that there's no way you could heighten beyond that. But I will tell you, if there was one that even got close, it was the Sumatran wrapper type on this blend of cigars, because it was absolutely fantastic. This cigar for me is like, even if you don't like the really heavy, like full body, just like in your face kind of smoking experience, this cigar is probably something you're still going to like, just because the flavors are so ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like...
in a good way, obviously.
It's like a boy band. It's like the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
You know, they sing so well together.
Backstreet's back. All right, baby.
And it's like, I want it that way. It's like, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
When I smoke it.
Yeah. It's really good. By the way, in terms of what I said earlier, as far as it being kind of overshadowed by some of these big releases in 2019, to me, I'm like, I don't know that this cigar got its fair shake in the marketplace last year.
Yeah.
Because if I were to stack all those 2019 Crown Heads releases on top of one another, this would be towards the top.
Yeah, it's
and
up
I
there.
would argue that even some of the bigger releases would be towards the bottom.
Yeah, and even that Black Lap, I'm gonna say it again. That one is like a steak cigar. Yeah, it is so savory.
Was that the 2019 release, or was it the other one?
It was 19.
I thought that was 18. I thought that was what's the other one that we reviewed? The Chuma.
I don't know. I've been quarantined for so long.
I know, that's true. I don't even know where I'm at. Yeah. That's a good point. We didn't fucking know what day it is. I'm not sure that we're even recording on a Saturday.
I think I'm still dreaming.
Yeah, there's a good chance that this is a good chance we're not even alive right now. This is all being played out in some simulation. Yeah. So I think in terms of like good Crown Heads, great Crown Head cigars that come out in 2000, and it was a great year for Crown Heads in 2019. Some amazing releases. I think this one was more overshadowed than the rest, and it really kind of breaks my heart, because I think this one is definitely suitable to be more close to the top in terms of like what it brings from a flavor perspective. Yeah. Plus, dude, the Mule Kick lineup is just like, for me, that's like in my fucking top.
And
always.
The Vitola is always the best Vitola.
Yeah. I love this 5 7/8 by 52. Yeah. It's like the perfect amount of smoke. Yeah. And I love cigars that just keep you wanting more. And this is one of those cigars. Like, that flavor doesn't really change up that much, but it's like, well, I could still keep smoking this. Yeah, you know, double it up. Let's make it bigger. Let's make it longer, whatever it may be. I thought it was just that fucking good. Yeah, dude. I love the balance of flavors. I absolutely love the balance of flavors in this cigar. And I'm just so disappointed that like everything in 2019, this one just kind of got overshadowed, because again, I don't think it got its fair shake.
I agree.
Definitely could have been. We should have a fucking 2019 Mule Kick resurgence.
We should.
Even though I'm pretty sure that he's already in the process of bringing out the 2020. But let's resurgence on the 2019. Let's bring it back.
Pickets.
I'm pretty sure you can still get him in the market too. Like I even found some 2018s as pretty recently. So the 2019 should still be sprinkled in.
Yeah, there are some humidors, some brick and mortars that are still stocking them. Yeah. That still have boxes left.
I kind of want to just like, I feel like John needs to like slow down It was weird because when we were talking the other day, I was like, it's hard to find, and a lot of people agree with this. It's hard to find a Crown Head cigar you don't like. I'm not saying that they don't exist. Like, there's a few that I certainly don't have preference for over others. Like the La Coalición is a perfect example of that. It's just like, for me personally, it's not. I don't put it anywhere towards the top.
Yeah.
But there's so many good releases, and with like Juarez coming to the market, of course, being a valued price point cigar, you have something like that hitting on all cylinders. To me, it's like, man, maybe you should just slow down on how much you're bringing out because shit's just getting kind of overshadowed.
And he likes trying new shit, man.
Right. Which I actually like.
Which is why now it's called the Last Marias.
Yeah. The Last Marias.
Because that one's being pulled.
Hey, it's gone. It's bye-bye.
It's going bye-bye.
Yeah, I thought so. In terms of flavor on the cigar, I didn't anticipate it was going to be as good as it was. And it actually ended up really surprising me. Now, man. Here's the thing. Do I like it more than 2018? Nah. Do I think it's close? Yeah, for sure. It's definitely close. It's just, I like what the 2018 brings in terms of flavor-wise, especially off that wrapper type.
18's spicier, too.
It is. It's way more heavy.
Yeah.
Way more heavy. With that Connecticut wrapper is way more heavy. This one is it's a lot more subtle. It's a little more tame, but it's really, really good. The flavors that the 2019 imparts are fucking fantastic. That's a cigar to me, honestly, Chris. I don't know that I would traditionally say this given the filler types, but that's a cigar that I'd pick up in the morning and smoke with coffee.
For sure.
I think that cigar would be so good with coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
Actually, like this morning would have been perfect. 60 degrees,
50
degrees out on the patio, a little bit of chill in the air, sun's coming up. Oh, man, that would have been great. But what are we doing? We're sitting in this goddamn fucking basement recording a podcast.
I got a dog farting on me.
Yeah. Is he farting? He's probably tooted a few times. He's a big boy.
I have to wash these jeans.
Look how handsome he is. What a baby.
I know. All
right, so let's get into the final breakdown of the cigar. Let's get into the score. Oh, yeah, the pricing component. I'm just
going to be real with you. It's almost 6 inches. It's practically a fucking Toro. And it's $10.
Yeah.
The price is perfect.
Agreed. I love the price point on this cigar. Yeah. I think it's totally appropriate. Yeah. It's exactly where I think you would want it to be.
No bonus, no minus.
No bonus, no delta, right where it should be.
Yeah. You ready?
I'm ready for this jelly. Let's do it. You've been quarantined entirely too long.
Oh, God. Okay.
Yeah.
Construction, 10 out of 10. It's great. It's like a fucking baby giraffe. 20 out of 20 on burn. Even for as little soft and squishy and cuddly as you think it might be compared to other Crown Heads, it smokes like a fucking dream.
Yeah.
26 out of 30 on flavor. I thought it was very good. It is a very, very good cigar. Very consistent, very complex, but complementary flavors.
Right.
It is really good if you're into Sumatran. That's the only preface. That's the only asterisk.
Right.
Is you gotta like Sumatran.
Right.
No pricing bonus, no minus, nothing like that. Mine comes in at a 93.3%.
So my score mirrors exactly your score, so there's no reason to be redundant. 93.3, scored the same amount in every category.
Do we need
pricing bonus or delta?
Do the average math?
Yeah. Please, Chris, could you calculate what the average of 93.3 would be on 2?
Hey, Google. She's sleeping. Sorry.
Yeah. So final score between the both of us averaged out at 93.3, which is a super highly rated cigar. Again, a little disappointed that this one didn't get the fanfare I think it deserved. Again, thinking it was probably closer to the top in terms of like good Crown Head releases in 2019. I think it was one of the first 2019 releases that Crown Heads came out with last year. I think it was one of the first to come to the market, if memory serves. If I'm wrong on that, I apologize, but I do think that was one of the first ones to come out. Shortly there, followed by La Coalición, and then of course the LC19, which got quite a bit of fanfare. That was a really good cigar, which we already broke down. Because this completes our 2019 list, I believe, for the most part of Crown Heads, at least some of the bigger releases that came out last year.
Oh, and the Court Reserve.
Court Reserve, we actually ended up that was
reviewing that one. That was an early year one.
Yeah, so there was a different iteration of the Court Reserve last year for 2019, which was a special edition. And by the way, the Court Reserve is so fucking good.
That's a good one.
God, those cigars are incredible. So anyway, there you have it. 93.3, super higher rated cigar. Maybe one of the higher rated cigars that we've done this year, and I think it's totally deserving. All bias aside, obviously, I've said before, I love John Huber to death. He is one of my favorite people in the cigar community. He's one of my favorite people outside the cigar community. So I was looking, that's why I didn't want to do the 2018. I wanted to be as objective as possible because I've only smoked this cigar a few times, and this cigar is just lights out fucking good.
Yeah,
that Sumatran wrapper coming from the EP Korea factory, you cannot miss on this cigar. I think it's great across the board. So again, Resurgence 2019 Mule Kick. Go out and get them. If they're on the shelves, you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, and if you're quarantined and you can't get out and you got one sitting in your humidor, fucking smoke it.
Yeah, definitely smoke. You know, I've been doing that more and more, weirdly enough. You know how I kind of harbor and hold on to stuff? I've been smoking shit that I traditionally like would just hold on to.
You don't know when you're going to die.
I just
smoke them.
I just grabbed one of my expensive Davidoffs the other day and I was like, fuck it.
Yeah, I got a couple I need to smoke.
I'm just going to smoke this bad boy.
You got to, man.
Yeah, I think it's I think we're in a time right now where it's weird. You got to preserve life, but you got to live life at the same time. Kind of, it's a weird kind of situation. But
I can't say smoking's really helping prevent me from getting this virus.
Yeah, well, I mean, who knows if you even already fucking I mean,
maybe I already.
That's a weird thing. Like my mother-in-law swears she already had it.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. And I think she did. Just from a symptoms perspective, like this was months ago. It was probably 2 months ago. I'm for sure she fucking had it.
It's possible.
But anyway,
does she know Chinese people? Is she friends with any Chinese people?
No, but she's definitely associates with some dirty butts. So there's that piece. But yeah, I mean we don't know for sure. But
opium. She does opium.
Yeah, she does.
That comes from China.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It comes from like Afghanistan.
Oh,
you're just way off.
Ecuador has giraffes.
Ecuador has giraffes. Can we put that on a t-shirt? A giraffe smoking and say Ecuador has giraffes. Oh, shit. All right, let's wrap this fucking thing up. We got shit to do. Yep. You say you're going to the grocery?
Yeah.
Dude, are you going to this Kroger over here? I think I may go with you.
Yeah.
Okay. I might just drive over.
Okay.
Because I probably should do some shopping.
Yeah.
Because I try to let Lauren do my shopping for me, but I'm not good about telling her what I need. But I also can't in my head think about what I need.
Every time someone asks me, what do you need from the store? I was like, I have no idea.
Yeah, it's like I need to go there and walk around, and then that'll tell me.
Now I'm setting up Google reminders to do it. Like if I think of it, then I set a reminder.
Yeah, smart. I usually try to go into the Kroger app and just like if I think about something, I'll add it to my cart. But I'm not good about doing that either. Life's been crazy.
It has.
So, but anyway, thank you everybody for listening. Obviously, new space. For anybody who's watching this, you can see the new space. But yeah, it'll continue being built out. We've got a couple surprises that we're gonna bring forward, which are hilarious.
Stay healthy.
Yeah.
Stay active. Have sex. Apparently, having sex really helps.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From a mental perspective.
Yeah.
And it's like working out.
Yeah.
And you feel good.
Yeah, that's true. It's a win-win-win.
You feel real good.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. This will conclude episode 144. Holy shit. Chugging along. Next week will be episode 145. We'll have a milestone episode at 150. Dude, 150 is insane.
I know.
Why do we keep doing this? I don't know.
We need a 150 goal.
Yeah, we should.
150,000 followers.
Never happen.
Not in the cigar community.
15,000. Nope, still not going to happen.
Not in the cigar community.
No, it doesn't exist. And if you do, you're probably a slut. Yeah. Oh, that's terrible. I shouldn't say that. Do I have to bleep that out?
Mm-hmm. Slut means a lot of things in different languages.
Oh, you know what? Before we end, this is something I wanted to put out there because there's all these quote-unquote influencers. I mean, we all know who these influencers are in the cigar community. We call them influencers. In times like this, start influencing. That's all I'm going to say. In times like this, start influencing.
Yeah.
Because you're not.
And not with your tidbits.
Not with your tidbits. In times like these, this is when you should start influencing. And you're not doing it. So you're a joke. Anyway, that's all I got. Sorry, I had to get that out there. It's a little bit of aggression that kind of deep-seated in my gut because I've been thinking about this for like 2 weeks.
It's so true, though.
Because I've noticed just the dissipation of activity over a period of time because, well, now no one's really watching to the same degree. And I can't have the same experiences and exposure to who I am. Hey, start influencing.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I'm going to say. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll be back at you next week with episode 145. See you, everyone.
Peace, love, and happiness.